Do you guys know what macronutrients are, and do you know what micronutrients are? That's what we're going to talk about in today's quick video, and then I'm going to point you to a resource that has more information. My name's Bridget Krasowski, and I help busy people figure out ways to make time in their day to work out, to eat clean, and to sleep more soundly so that you feel better about yourself mentally and physically. Okay, so I feel like for at least maybe the past year, maybe longer, I keep reading about like, oh, are you tracking your macros? Oh, micronutrients. Oh, tracking your macros. I'm like, what are these macros they speak of? And I never took the time to really like look into it or pay that much attention to it. All I knew is that people were talking about macros, and it sounded like something that I should maybe at least have some awareness of. And then micros too, although I heard less about micros. So I'm gonna break it down for you very simply. So micronutrients refer to vitamins and minerals. Okay, so that's what it is. Vitamins and minerals that your body needs to function properly. So there's a couple of different ways, and the more focus on this video is going to be on the macronutrients because I think micronutrients are pretty self-explanatory. Macronutrients aren't that complicated either, but it's your vitamins and minerals and making sure you're getting the right amount of what your body needs. So for this, multivitamins are good, but it's really every person's different, right? So you need to figure out like what you may be deficient in and what your body needs more of, and what you can supplement with a pill or perhaps diet, even better. So understanding that through blood panels and talking to your doctor is obviously a good idea, right? So I'm going to encourage you to try not to figure this out on your own, because just from my own personal experience, so I went through a period and I was losing my hair like at a rapid pace, and I know a lot of my girlfriends, we've commiserated about this, but I'm like, am I gonna wake up one day and have no hair? Like, that's how bad it was. So I did a little WebMD search, searching online, Dr. Google, and I read somewhere a couple times that it said that you could be deficient in iron. So I was like, oh, so that could be it. So did I get tested for that? No, I was like, I'll just go buy some iron supplements. So I bought iron supplements and took them, and I got so sick. Like, my body just rejected the iron supplement, and it was not good. So not to say, I mean, I still could be iron deficient. I don't know, my hair doesn't seem to be falling out as much, but I just did that blindly without really like looking into it. So there's tests for that. There's tests that you can get at the doctor to check to see what you're deficient on. I mean, and in certain cases it may really matter with your health and fitness, right? So I think that's an important thing to be aware of. So, and pills, okay, can supplement, but diet is where you can get most of what you need. But again, talk to your doctor. Okay, so that's micronutrients in a nutshell. Macronutrients, on the other hand, and this is what I'm super excited about because vitamins and minerals are kind of boring. So macronutrients, okay, so this is, okay, you guys, protein, carbs, and fat. Those are macronutrients, not hard. So I'll save it for another video about the importance of each of those and kind of dispelling some of the common misperceptions and maybe myths behind those and why they may be good or good for you or not. What I want to talk about today and encourage you to look at doing is we spend so much time focused on calories, right? Like, how many calories are you eating? Like, and basing that on what you do for your workouts. Do you have a sedentary lifestyle or an active lifestyle? We base it on our height and weight, and all that's okay because it's like some measure and how to like track and pay attention. And I'm not saying don't count your calories, but I'm asking you to start looking at your macros. And now that I know that it means, I can say it with some level of intelligence. So if you look at your macros, and if you use MyFitnessPal, Lose It, pretty much any of the apps that track your food, they will also track your macros, and they'll break down what percentage of each you are consuming in a day. So if you have, you guys, this has been like so huge for me lately. So if you have reached a point where you feel like you've reached a plateau and you can't lose any weight, and you feel like you've tried everything, look at your macros. Like, for example, if you were eating 60% carbs, I'm just making numbers up, 60% carbs, 30% protein, and 10% fat. Does that equal 100? It does. Okay, then maybe shake it up and maybe switch that and maybe lessen up on the carbs, add more fat, and maybe add more protein, or maybe add more protein, add more fat, less carbs. I mean, play around with it and see what works for you, right? I'm not gonna prescribe like one particular thing, like you should have like 40% carbs, 30% protein, 20% fat, you know, whatever. But look at your macros and kind of play around with it and see if that makes a difference in your diet. It may take a little adjusting to, especially if you're like me and you kind of get into a routine and a groove of what you're cooking for your meals and your snacks, and you're used to the calorie count. I don't know why I'm using quotations. The calorie calorie count behind all of those. But so for example, I started switching towards eating more fat, less carbs, and a little less protein. And it's been a really interesting experiment for me because I never realized how many carbs I was eating. And again, it's not that carbs are bad, depending on the carbs, of course. I was eating good carbs, but I still think it was affecting my ability to lose weight. So I want to encourage you to look at your macros. Bust out the food tracker. You're tracking your food, aren't you? Anyways, bust out your food tracker app and take a look at your macros and see, kind of look back the past couple of weeks and see what the percentages of carbs, fats, and proteins you've been eating. And if you feel like you're stuck with your weight loss, shake it up. And again, I'm not going to tell you exactly what to do or how to do it, but just change it up and try something different for a couple of weeks and see if that has any impact on how your clothes fit, on the scale, how your energy levels are. This is something that I never paid attention to, never. And so, like I said, it's been really eye-opening for me, and I am focused on a lot of fat, high fat, because it keeps you fuller longer. Still doing protein, because especially if you're working out, you're gonna need that protein, and some carbs, you're gonna need carbs as well. I'm not saying eliminate carbs, carbs are bad, that's not true. So macros, check them out, look at them. I love to hear what you think about this, and I wanna hear if you wanna know more about this as well, because it's an area that I'm starting to learn and understand a lot more about, and I'm gonna share my knowledge with you guys. So I want to hear from you, and I want to hear if this is an area that interests you, or if this is an area that you already know everything about and you've mastered it. And if you have experience with shaking up your macros, I want to hear about that too. All right, I hope you guys are having an awesome day. Tomorrow's Friday, depending on what day you're watching this, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. See you next time.